Hello everyone, this is BadHell24 and welcome back to another reaction. I think I figured out the issue with my computer overloading when I was trying to do these reactions. I configured OBS a little bit differently. Instead of just recording at like 720p, I'm recording at 480p now. So hopefully that will quench the issue with the CPU overloading, causing the video to not fully be viewed for whatever reason. I don't know why that was happening. But the last two videos that I've made, the last two reactions of the mort that I've made, you don't get to see the full video. I don't know why that is, but hopefully now, and I'm gonna check the video after I'm done recording this. I'm gonna see if it'll actually capture the whole video with this one. I don't know if it will, so if you're seeing this on YouTube, hi, anyway, we're continuing on this, epic and crazy and chaotic mort dreamworks theory, and you're probably looking at this going a little weird, like, but this isn't mort, this is Shrek. Yes, this is Shrek. I'm following the playlist order, okay? Calm down. I'm following the playlist order. He said that there would be theories in this that don't seem related but are related, and this is probably what he means. Later parts might touch on the themes that are happening in these theories. Anyway, we're watching a couple of the Shrek theories today. This one is called the Amazing Shrek Conspiracy Theory Timeline. Revised theory by the one, the only, the Theorizer. Now, I don't know if anyone else has done a reaction to the full playlist before. I know Chris Wilson did reactions to the DreamWorks theory, but he only did the mort videos from what I can tell. I didn't watch them. I only watched his reactions up to parts 1 through 6, which I have watched. And I know that he's watched the other mort theories, the mort-centric videos, not the full Shrek and Over the Hedge and other DreamWorks, miscellaneous DreamWorks videos. Anyway, this is going on long enough. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's get back in.
Shrek series is my favorite DreamWorks franchise.
Yeah.
If you've seen some of my best and most plausible theories,
yes,
you'll be eager to see this. I have a small little Shrek theory I made months ago, which stated that the fairy godmother is behind more than we're led to believe in the film. So I've constructed a timeline of events to contain a massive conspiracy that...
Also, he sounds different, but this was made,
First,
6 years ago.
Pick out some of the buried evidence and construct evidence with evidence to use as evidence in my timeline. Evidence section. There will be spoilers through Shreks 1 through 4, so hopefully you've seen them all. If not, watching only the first 2 films will allow you to understand this as well. As you
I've only seen the first 2 films. I don't care to watch Shrek theme for reasons where I don't think they're needed, and people say that Shrek 3 is not good, Shrek 4 is even worse, so, I'm just gonna take my knowledge of Shrek 1 and 2, go into this video, and, he says that we'll know whatever's happening here, so, hell yeah, let's,
The secret plot of Shrek 2 is basically a conspiracy all in itself.
Yeah?
It's obvious in Shrek 2 that the fairy godmother is all about her son marrying Fiona.
Yes.
It's also obvious that there's a master plan going on. So, I've sifted through the evidence to put this master plan into a timeline.
Okay.
If you're perceptive or even just attentive, you'll easily realize what part of the plan is. At the end of the film, King Harold is hit with magic and turns into a frog.
Yes.
At first, you're confused at
Princess and the Frog.
but then you realize that it's his true form, and that part of the master plan was that the fairy godmother years ago turned Harold from a frog into a human.
So now he's back into a frog.
And when you realize this, it blows your mind. He wanted to become a human so that he could marry a princess. Sound familiar? Although...
Yeah, I was gonna say, that was very, very similar. He wanted to marry... He wanted to turn into a human to marry a princess. However, Princess of the Frog the princess marries a frog, and then kisses the frog and turns it into a human. There might be some Princess and Frog themes going on here, you know? Doesn't a frog die in Shrek? Doesn't, like, the king, who's now a frog, die in, like, Shrek 3 or Shrek 4 or something? I don't know. It's weird.
As the movie establishes, the godmother took this opportunity to strike up a deal. As the movie hints towards, if she turned him into a human, her son would marry his future daughter. And that's why Charming is so obsessed with Fiona. But when you think about it, she only wanted her son to marry into royalty so she could become all-powerful over far, far away.
Yeah,
okay, so
that's a given.
Although, there is more evidence that is very secret and hidden that I have found that states there is more to the plan.
Okay.
Do you remember what Fiona's curse was?
Yes.
She says when she was a little girl, a witch cast a spell on her.
To turn her into an ogre.
Transformed her into an ogre every night until she kissed her true love, at which point she would take true love's form. But what always got to me was why this witch cast a spell on Fiona. What exactly did Fiona do to deserve this? And finally, something...
She probably, like, pissed off the fairy godmother, or her dad, or something. I don't know. She pissed someone off, and, fairy godmother was probably like, yeah, well, she pissed me off, I'm gonna ruin her life by, casting a spell that turns her into an ogre every night. Until she gives the true love. How's that? She'll never find her true love, for she'll be an ogre at night forever. But then she kisses Shrek in human form. So it's a, huh? Does she kiss Shrek in human form? No, but she kisses Shrek. Yeah, she kisses Shrek in human form. I'm trying to remember. The end of the movie, she is in human form. They want her to marry Prince Charming. She doesn't. She kisses Shrek and turns into an ogre. Because that was her true love. If she kissed... Wait. If she was an ogre, and then kissed Prince Charming as an ogre, would she have turned into a human? We're talking about true love. Who was the true love? Prince Charming or Shrek? Because Shrek was always an ogre. We get that. He was always an ogre, But yeah, she probably pissed the fairy godmother off to the point where fairy godmother tried to ruin her life and become like an evil dictator far, far away, only to then be totally foiled by Shrek and his friends, and then have Fiona kiss Shrek. So she kind of flopped at the end, you know, but I don't know, let's see it.
Conflict. If the fairy godmother wanted her son to marry Fiona, it would appear as forcing and rushed.
Okay.
So, to avoid suspicion from the public and the queen, she created the elaborate plan of locking Fiona away in a tower and, yes, casting this spell on Fiona.
Yeah.
She was the witch.
Of course.
As I just said, this elaborate plan is done to avoid public suspicion and the suspicion from the queen, who has no idea of the true plans. So if it's true that the fairy godmother cast a spell on Harold's firstborn and locked her away in a tower, then it fits perfectly into place.
It does.
It was her son who was expected to save Fiona. Why is this curse locked with true love's kiss? Charming is supposed to kiss her. And he was also expected to slip easily into the dragon's keep, unlike all the other knights who died trying. Honestly, what makes him so different from them? Well, he's the son of the puppet master.
Yeah.
Okay, we've discovered what the fairy godmother does in this movie.
I mean, we knew that he's the son of the fairy godmother, and the fairy godmother's like, okay, I'm gonna cast a spell on Fiona that will turn her into an ogre, you know. I'm gonna lock her away in this tower that you can easily get to. I want you to get in there. And, again, it's gonna be very easy to get into. You're not gonna die. Nothing's gonna happen. I'll make it easy for you. You go up there, save Princess Fiona, and kiss her when she's nowhere to turn her back into a human. But then Shrek saves her, all this shit happens, and you know, it's a thing. It's a giant thing. It's a massive thing that happens. You know, it's just.
So, when investigating this crazy plan, I discovered more than ever. You might not believe this, but Queen Lillian was the one who introduced Shrek to Fiona.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
of course,
but plausible. Let me explain. Queen Lillian did not know the master plan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now, do you remember in Shrek 1, the magic mirror?
Farquaad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he was the one who introduced Fiona to Lord Farquaad.
Yes.
He had the dating game he played with Lord Farquaad, and the candidates for Lord Farquaad to date were Snow White, Cinderella, and Fiona.
Of course.
Surprise, surprise, Farquaad chooses Fiona.
Yes.
We don't know where this mirror came from. Farquaad's knights just say that they found it. But if you remember the classic tale of Snow White,
yeah,
then you'll remember that the magic mirror came from the evil queen. And guess what? We see that the evil queen and Snow White both live in the kingdom of far, far away.
Ooh.
You may be asking, what am I going to do with this evidence? Why, I'm going to construct a second conspiracy. Fiona was a private princess only for charming. So
yes,
why is this mirror allowed to advertise her? If this mirror came from far, far away, then get this.
The mirror came from the GODMOTHER.
Lillian stuck her daughter's advertisement in the mirror and sent it to Doodalok, a kingdom full of knights who could save her daughter. After all, she had no idea of the true master plan and just wanted her daughter to be saved. It's an interesting thought, but let's see how the timeline supports it. So that's all the evidence for a timeline. Now here it is visualized.
Let's construct it.
A frog asked a fairy godmother if he could become a prince and marry the love of his life.
Yes.
And in return, his firstborn child would be sent into a believable and elaborate plan to allow this godmother control of his future kingdom.
Yes.
The plan was set into action. The godmother cast a spell on his firstborn, making her an ogre every night.
Mm-hmm.
She also seemingly spawned a prince and called him son. Fiona finally is locked away in the tower to await the spawn of Mrs. Psycho. The Queen of Far, Far Hollywood is unbeknownst to the plan and desperate for her
Okay, Queen Lillian puts an advertisement for her daughter because of natural marriage to do a lot just because they want their daughter rescued. So, she's totally unaware of this. She finds out that her daughter's in this tower. Again, not even knowing what the fuck is going on at this point. She doesn't know what the fairy godmother is doing. She doesn't know her plan. So, she realizes that her daughter's in this tower. Puts an advertisement for her daughter to be saved inside this mirror and sends it to a place full of knights that can save her daughter. If I'm reading this correctly. Because she, completely oblivious, you could even say that she's clueless to whatever's happening. She just wants her daughter saved. Like, she's like, oh my god, my daughter's in the tower. I just want her saved. Someone please, I'm gonna send this to a place full of knights. Any one of you knights can come and rescue her. Then it goes up to Lord Farquaad. Farquaad chooses Fiona, and it's
daughter gets involved in multiple mini-schemes, one of which involves putting her daughter's advertisement into a magical mirror and shipping it off to a kingdom full of knights to save her.
Yeah, and then Shrek intercepts
a massive kink in a heinous plan, and Shrek ends up being dragged in. He saves her, marries her,
and then literally Shrek 1
Charming
happens.
arrives to save her. He has nothing to save but, and I quote, a gender-confused wolf.
Yes.
Devastated that
and then the rest of Shrek 2 happens.
Put a compound fracture in his so-called mother's plan. He alters his plan, but the all-too-bubbly psychopath dies in a stupid fashion, leaving him alone to reveal his true plan to dominate the kingdom with full-on delusion inherited from you-know-who. He ends up dying. The end. And that seems to wrap up DreamWorks' biggest conspiracy. But seriously, pretty good conspiracy timeline. It basically explains the true rise and fall of the not-so-charmings.
It does.
I don't know if it beats this theory though. The best theory I've ever made, which is 100% plausible, my Ratatouille theory.
I mean, the Ratatouille one's pretty cool.
The Theorizer.
The Ratatouille one's pretty cool. I've watched his entire first spectral theory on my own. You know. I didn't do a reaction to that. I just watched it on my own. It was about fucking Ratatouille, Inside Out, Toy Story about Woody's dad. No, Andy's dad, and how it connects to Inside Out, and how it connects to Up, and how it connects to Ratatouille, and it's that whole little universe wrapped up inside those, like, 3-4 movies. And then we have the second Pixar theory, which you know, Monsters, Inc. and... what was the other movie? Monsters, Inc. and WALL-E, right? No, it was Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. Incredibles. Yeah, Monsters, Inc. and Incredibles, and how it ties into WALL-E, right? I think that was it. Monsters, Inc. Incredibles, and how it ties into WALL-E, B&L, all that kind of stuff. That was a cool theory. That was a really interesting theory. But, like I said, we have one more theory to go. And this one's part 2 of the Fairy Godmother. This one's part 1. We haven't gotten to part 2 yet. This one's part 1 of the Fairy Godmother theory. Shrek, the Fairy Godmother's twisted true conspiracy. Let's go. This video is slightly fast-paced. Oh, I know.
They are the best DreamWorks films in my opinion.
Of course.
They have it all. The animation, the epic story, the music, the characters, and they do have a few chunks of hidden secrets, which I've made a few videos in the past taking apart. I'd recommend you watch my video on Fiona and Shrek and the Godmother before you watch this one, because a large chunk of evidence I'll be using in this video roots from that other one. So the Fairy Godmother, also known as Dema Fortuna, is a driven, intelligent, psychotic businesswoman and A-list celebrity who basically rules the social setting of Far, Far Away. Her past is shrouded in mystery, and sure as hell is not anything like the Cinderella Fairy Godmother's past. So who is she? What other plans has she enacted? How do they all tie together? I have the answers.
Let's see it, dude. This is an older one. This is an older video. We're doing some older fucking Theorizer stuff before we get to the good mort stuff.
Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and this is not just any ordinary fairy godmother. She's a scientist, a genius one, whose magic stems from her knowledge of chemistry and alchemy, as proven by her factory. I don't even really think she's a biological fairy, just someone who is self-mutating.
There's like 4 or 5 parts to this theory.
Isn't the source of her magic. It's just simply a conduit of magic flow from inside of her, as we know because its lights go out when she dies. Anyways, she's first and foremost a businesswoman, but uses her celebrity status to give and get anything she wants to and from anyone she wants. And she doesn't care if the person she's helping is morally flawed. She'll do anything because she herself is morally flawed. As we can see on the walls in her factory, she has helped many people with their happy endings, including the Wicked Witch of the West, whom she made even more evil. Something is seriously wrong with her if she's going to weird lengths to help even the villains, but that's not all. DreamWorks tried to hide this one, but if you pause the frame right before Shrek walks into her office, you can see a before and after of Cinderella's stepsister. The fairy godmother turned the step-sibling from male to female, as we can see. However, we actually meet the step-sibling, and they seem to still be transgender. So did the fairy godmother use her magic in a way that could blackmail the step-sibling? I'm not too sure, but this frame is hidden in a fraction of a second, and DreamWorks has a love of hiding things like this in half frames. So, she's a blackmailing A-list businesswoman and professional megalomaniacal psychopath, but that's just her personality, not her backstory or motives. If you ended up watching my other Shrek video on Fiona and the Godmother, then you know that I'm 95% certain, like, that the witch they talk about
is the Fairy Godmother
over at night was in fact the Fairy Godmother herself, so that she could swoop in and save the day. I believe this heavily to be the case, and so do many others. And while
makes
the
sense,
with Fiona may have been her biggest plan as it involved the future of her son, what may have been her other plans, and how do they tie into all of this? Many people in Far, Far Away seem to be generally miserable. More accurately, the villains. They all hang out in the Poison Apple Tavern, and so did Harold the Frog before he got his happy ending.
Yeah.
And it's my great belief that the fairy godmother has done something utterly wicked. She has intentionally gone around and used her magic to interfere with the lives of several people, so that she can swoop in and save their days. Not just Fiona. But the fact that she very likely did do this to Fiona leads me to believe that she's done this to everyone she's saved. It makes sense too. She's not
I mean, it makes sense if she was the one that cast this spell, only to then go, oh no, she's turning into an ogre every night. Well, guess I'll have to save her. I mean, it's a given fact that she's probably done it more times if she is methodical in her plan. Like, someone that has only done this once before, or someone who was, this is the first time doing this, they would not think this far ahead. Like, we know, because we've seen other theories about this kind of stuff. With fucking Waternoose and Randall and stuff like that. You remember that? Pixar theory number 2? The kidnapping kids? Kidnapping 1,000 children before he lets the company die? You know? He's done it before. Someone like that, if he was to do that the first time, he would not be thinking like that. Like, it's a fact that he's done that many times before. Like, it's insane, awesome, and amazing. Like, I fucking love it.
Using magic to fix them. She's just undoing the magic she already used to make them miserable.
Sure.
Her potions are intentionally appealing sounding. Some of them are downright evil, and they're likely used for such. The other reason I believe she's making everyone miserable is because her slogan is happiness, just a teardrop away.
Yes.
And she has made herself summonable by someone crying. She induces this. She makes
she
their
induces
lives
tears.
suck. It's her thing. But her intelligence and strategic nature leads me to believe that she's not doing this for fame or some other petty
She induces tears
I
to then
believe
help.
fame is just a stepping stone to what she really wants, but I don't know what that is yet. In Shrek 3, Prince Charming immediately went to the Poison Apple to recruit villains once he was out of options and his mother died.
Yeah.
Everyone in there hated him at first for some reason, but then they all warmed up to him when he promised them their happy endings back. And they hopped all over it because their happiness has been stripped from them. Charming knew the backup was to appeal to the people she ruined. Charming himself, I think, might even be a byproduct of Dame Fortuna's even greater plan, which involves herself and herself alone. Charming was a child she created, or perhaps birthed, simply to get herself on top of Far, Far Away.
Of course.
She was already on top in regards to the social setting. Her plan with Charming involved getting
Zootopia
a
theory.
political and royal setting. Charming isn't real. He's a fake boy created by the godmother. This is additionally seen in how he was utterly lost without her guidance and reverted to the failsafe of undoing the misery and the villains she created. I think more specifically that these villains were created by the godmother not only to give her something to fix, but to contrast Cinderella and the other princesses she fixed.
Okay.
If she creates villains, the happiness of the heroes is almost certainly assured. She did this to make the happiness of others more potent, as no hero can exist without a villain. But getting on top of the royal chain in Far, Far Away is what she wants, though I'm still trying to figure out why. She's power-starved, but I think she aims to do something with it all. Her plot started way back when she ruined the life of a small frog, making him yearn for the life of being a human. In doing so, she introduced him to Lily, a woman whose life she most likely also ruined. As we know, Lillian's family used to be the royalty governing Far, Far Away, and this was the godmother's first step into worming her way into the system.
Of course.
Once their marriage was assured, she poisoned the daughter of Harold and Lillian, making her an ogre by night. Godmother created a son who she named Charming, and she had Harold indoctrinate his daughter into being entranced by the concept of a charming prince who'd save her.
Yeah.
Funny how she literally named him Charming. It's all a part of the scheme to mesmerize Fiona.
It was a plan.
Which worked, as we see, in her obsessive diary. But why wait so long to save Fiona? Why send Charming at a very specific time after Shrek just saved her? Kind of extremely coincidental, right?
It is.
Why would Charming show up right after and not way before? It's statistically improbable for these events to happen so close together. So, then, there's only one logical answer.
She made it.
And it's the fact that the fairy godmother intentionally sent him right after Shrek saved Fiona
Yeah.
when they began their honeymoon. Clearly, Prince Charming was unaware of this plan the godmother had in mind, and she blatantly lied to him about it constantly, even in the carriage. She kind of takes over and starts screaming the same thing he screamed. This is only further proof that her son is the means to an end. But why would she wait for Shrek to save Fiona? I think I know.
She's using the son as a pawn, is what she's doing. She intentionally, if we're going off the fact that she intentionally waited until after Shrek saved Fiona, that means that that inadvertently caused the event of Shrek 2 to happen? Right? That caused the events of Shrek 2 to happen, or that caused Shrek 2 as a whole to happen? Interesting. Very, very interesting.
She needed Shrek to be there so that she could save Fiona again.
Of course.
To fool Harold and Lillian. She needed to swoop in and break apart their love. Shrek, or really any other rescuer for that matter, needed to save Fiona. Ever notice how the happily ever after potion is the only potion that is intentionally labeled with an incredibly appealing title and sticker behind a very important looking glass display? Notice how she smiles when the pigeon informs her that Shrek did indeed steal it? She acts like she was surprised at the theft.
She wired it.
But her smirk implies that she's pleased. The plan is following through. So yes, I believe the fairy godmother sent Charming in right after Shrek began his honeymoon, simply to test Harold's allegiance to her and their plan. She needed to make a big introduction to Fiona, and the only way to do that would be to break her and make her require further happiness, or in other words, allow an ogre into Fiona's life and shock Harold with it. Harold's spastic dinner fight with Shrek is all because, of course, he was furious that the godmother's plan didn't follow through. He was mad because he didn't want his own happy ending revoked by her. This was all the fairy godmother toying with him, like she does to everybody. She needed this dinner table argument to happen so that Fiona would feel torn and distraught, so that the entrance the godmother made could have as much potency as possible.
Yeah, of course.
She was just waiting for Fiona outside. This is proof of it. She only appears if you cry into one of her business cards, not if you cry into nothingness. This means that she'd have been monitoring, waiting, which, yes, by extension, means that she wanted Shrek to save Fiona first. What a psychotic thing she is. She staged
She's psychotic,
an
yeah.
entire film's plot. She has wormed her way into royalty, and in her attempt
She's
to be
insane.
good enough for Fiona, she has become a celebrity by manipulating several other princesses. This was all for Fiona because she needed Charming to become king, because she needed to become the ruler of Far, Far Away. But why? Personally, I think she wants to lead all of the land with evil power. She wants
Of course.
everything. Citizens to bow before
She's
her.
evil.
Similar to what Rumpelstiltskin wanted in Shrek 4, but why this? Well, most villains with determination as great as hers, with an endgame as arbitrary as this, had at one point felt inferior in their life, whether they were bullied, tormented, whatever. So I feel that's what's happened to Dama Fortuna. She made herself a fairy, gave herself magic, all to compensate for something that tormented her in her past. Quite honestly, I believe it was the previous royals, Lillian's family. I feel like something happened with them, because it seems to be the most sensible in this situation, with how she wants to dominate the kingdom that wronged her. This is besides the fact that Lillian blatantly tells Harold that she does not trust the fairy godmother. Something happened in Lillian's family history that ruined the fairy godmother's mentality, and this is her revenge. She used to be a witch, but now she's a witch posing as a fairy.
Yeah.
This is her sick, complex, psychotic, twisted revenge, and I'm not sure what kind of things the royals did to her. Most likely, though, they shunned her because of her magical ways out of fear. I might go into this more later, but for now, I'm the Theorizer.
Oh, you will go into this more later, because we've done a few parts here in this DreamWorks Mort theory, and next time we'll pick up with parts 2 and 3, and maybe part 4 of the Fairy Godmother theory. It's gonna be fun, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be wild, and I hope you guys are there for the ride, and I will see all of you in the next video where we react to more Shrek theories. Later.